All right. So we're going to be working on class and events today. So today's class is going to be based on the class, working with element class, and at the same time, we are going to jump into events because we need events in order for us to be able to do some stuff based on what is going on the browser there. And yesterday, we talked about how to work with the attributes. We talked about how to work with the style of the element. So today, we jump directly into this class. So I'm not even going back to the previous stuff. So we have video for that already. So how do we manage the class on our elements? So here we can use the functionality that the browser is giving us there through JavaScript to manipulate the content of the class for the particular element that you are targeting on the page. For example, here now, look at this element, this H1. So I can target it and I can manipulate its class there like that. So and how do you do this? We have different stuff that you can do. You can add to the list of the class that is there before. You can remove any class from the list, or you can toggle, or you can check whether a particular class is below, like is belonging to that element. But I'm going to start with this one, which is the add. So how do we add to the class of the element there? Because if you look at it here, there's an element which is this testing down here that I'm going to be working on later on to put this into practice. But right now, I'll be working on this H1 so that we can see that it's actually modifying the content of the class that we have on this element. And later on, we put everything together and we use it on the element that I've already defined down there. As you can see here from the CSS, I've styled the element, but there's a particular style here, which is this slide. So the only time it to perform this action is when this class is being added to this element. So that's when it's going to do it. So when we have an element that have the class testing and slide, then it's going to change the left and the bottom. But currently here, the element is not having anything like slide. So and we want to do this thing from JavaScript. And how do we do that? So we need all this functionality here that you can use to add or remove or toggle or check whether a particular class is on that element. So here I'm going to target the element up here. So because I'll call it H1. So document then query selector for the element. So I'm selecting the element based on its ID. So you know what is that? So I'm selecting based on ID. Yeah. So the next we need to do is to manipulate its class. And the first one that we want to work with is add. So when you want to add or when you want to work with a class of the element, so you can use this your element then the class list. So this class list come with goodies that you can use to manipulate the element class there like that. So and one of the things you can do here is to use this class list then dot add. Anytime you call add on class list, it's going to add to the list of whatever class that you have on the element. Because if you look at the element right now, we only have one class, which is this test. But I want to add other one directly from JavaScript, not from the HTML. Because if you go back to the HTML and you check, you see that it's only having one class. But I want to add to the list of what is here. So what are the classes that you want to add? Because you can add one or you can add multiple. So if you give it one class, it will only add that one. And if you give it multiple classes there, then you need to add all of them at once. For example, here, I want to add this Abdul Rakib here. So anytime this JavaScript is run, it's going to look at this H1 and it's going to add a class Abdul Rakib to the list of whatever is there. It's not removing anything that is there before, it's just adding to the list of what is there. So if you have like 10 classes there before, then you need to just add this one to the end of the list there. And if I save this one now, to reload the page, and once the page is done loading there, as you can see, the keep is now added to the list. So if you want to add another one, you can just go to new line like this, but this is just a waste of typing by putting them on the separate line. So yeah, and put raster there, and if I save it, first it will add a keep, and then next it will add roster to the list of the classes here. So the way you arrange them, that's the same way it is going to add it. But instead of you doing it like this, you can actually add it on one line. As you can see, you can add all the classes on just one line with this add. The add is smart. So if you give it one item, it will only add that one. And if you give it two or more items, then it will add all of them at once. So instead of me using these two lines like this, I can just do h1 plus list like this and then add. So the first one, which is this to row cube like this, which I can put one. So just to denote that this is what we're adding from a single line. Again, I'm going to have raster one. If I want, I can just use Mayovest like this. So what we are saying here is that this H1, we are adding all these classes to the list of what is there before. So if you have like test or you have open or you have close, it will not remove it. It will just add all this one to the list. So because there's sometimes you want to add multiple classes at the same time. And since you need to add multiple classes at the same time, as you can see, it's going to add all of them like that. So instead of you calling all this in three times, instead of you calling the add three times, you can just call it once and you pass all the classes that you want this thing to add for you. And it will add them to the list of whatever class that you add there before. So if you want to add, call the element followed by dots, followed by the class list, then followed by add. And inside the bracket there, you pass all the classes that you want to add on that element. So just like the way you can add, we can remove too, because it gives us all these goodies that we need. So if you want to remove a particular class, for example, here, let me add. So I'm going to add this one. So class list like this. On the class, I'm going to add open. At the same time, I'm going to have green. I'm going to have group like this. So these are the classes that I want to add to the elements that are there. But after adding this class, I want to remove this test. So after adding this class, I want to, I did not call add. So I can't see anything on the screen. So before the add, we should have all the classes. Yeah. So we have open, we have green, we have group. But I want to remove the test. So the only one I want to add there is just this open, green, and group. So I don't have to have this text again. So how do you remove a class? So to remove a class, you see the same thing you are going to call so h1, which is your element, followed by class list, then now followed by remove. So this one too, you can use it to remove multiple classes. So if you pass one item into it, it will only remove that one. And if it is two that you pass, then it will remove the two classes there. And the thing is smart. If it is not there, it will not do anything. So if I pass anything that is not there, for example, raster now, it will go there, check for raster. Is raster there? So if there is no raster there, as you can see, it will not do anything. But the one I actually want to remove is test. So if you can find the stuff there, it will remove it. But if you cannot find it, then it will do nothing on the element class there. So now if I save this one, you see that the only thing we now have now is this open green group here. So there won't be anything like test again on the screen, because here I still have test, but I don't want to have this text. The only thing I want to have is just these three items like this. So saved. Why is it not loading? So if I save it now, as you can see, there is nothing like test again. I've removed the class. So you can add and you can remove. So if you want to remove multiple classes, just supply all of them here and it's going to remove it. So I don't want to see group here again. And at the same time, I don't want to, let me just leave it like that. These two are okay. So let me just remove test and group. If you look at it, we have group and we have test before. But now, if you look at it, the only thing we just have there is open and we have green here like that. I want to do something here. So word wrap, so that this thing doesn't go to, so it can show all the stuff that I'm typing here like it. So we have this h1, which is the element that I have up here, and on it we have this class list. This class list is not just a simple stuff like that you can use. It has some methods on it. So it comes with some goodies, and some of the goodies here is this add and remove. So add will help you to add to the list of the class. Remove will remove whatever class you pass into it here like that. So when you use add, it will add to the list of what is there before, and if you use remove, then it will remove that particular class from the list there like that. So apart from this remove too, we have toggle. So toggle is doing the work of add or remove. So toggle, just like the name, is switching like your switch. If you on the light, the next thing you can do is to off it. You can't say you want to on the light again. The light is on already, so you can on it twice. So once you on your light, once you switch on your light like this, the next thing you have to do is to switch off the light. It's not like switching it off again because it is switch on already. So and that's where toggle comes in. So toggle, what it's going to do is that it's going to check if the class is on that element. So if the class is there, it's going to remove it. And if the class is not there, then it's going to add it. So its job is just to remove or add based on whether that class is there or not. And you can think of it as this thing. Look at it. You see that this thing is not, so look at it. I click on this. You see that it open up this item here. And if I click on it again, you see that it closes the box. So this is what we call toggle here. So if the stuff is not open, it will open it. Then if it is open, then it will close. So it's toggling the states. Is that open or you close? But it's depending on what is going on here. So if it is not open before, it have to open this thing. And if it is opened, then when you click it again, it will close. And this is what toggle is doing. So this toggle, it will check the class that you are passing to it. If it is there, it will remove it. But if it's not there, it will add like that. So if you want to add, go with add. If you want to remove, go with remove. But if you want to add a class, if it is not there, and if you want to remove it, if it is there, then that's where toggle will come in there like that. So this one to help you to add. You can add, for example, here, let me add all these items there. So you can add all these classes. You see that we're going to have it like test, open, green, and group. But here now I want to do this H1 class list, then dot toggle. Why am I toggling there? I'm toggling open. So what is this thing going to do? It will check if open is part of the class that you have. So if it is there, it will remove. But if it's not there, it will add. So now if I save it, you see that it's going to remove the open because we are adding the open here. And since open is part of them, can you see now? There's nothing like open again. Once this toggle see that the class you are passing to it is there, it will remove it from the list. But if it's not there, it will add it to the list. So now if I put something that is not there before, maybe for example like this open 12, there's nothing like open 12 on the screen. So since we don't have anything like that inside the class, then it's not going to add to the list there. So toggle is checking whether that stuff is there or is not there. So if it is there before, it will remove. And if it's not there before, then it's going to add it to the list. And you're going to be using this in a lot later on. Anytime you need something like this, the same element, like one element is doing the job of on and off. So, and when you are now adding the classes on the element, there's a class that is turning the element on, and there's a class when the element is not there, it will turn the stuff off. So you can use this toggle to do the job, to do something like this that the browser is doing here. So when the stuff is not open, you see that it will come outside. But since it's already open here, if you click on this thing again, it will close it. So we can do something like that too on our page. When we click on a button, if the class is not there, just add it on that button. But if the class is already there, just remove it there. Which is like when you go to the password, you can toggle this in on and off, that it will show the password for you. So you can actually use this toggle to turn off a class that will show the icon for this in there, for eye icon, and the one that is going to close the eye icon. If you used to do sign up a lot, you see that sites used to do all this thing, but we are going to put it in practice later on. But the job of this toggle is to remove a class if it is there, and add a class if it is not there. So that's the job. But we know that you always want to add if it is if it is there or it's not there, you want to add, because all this add and remove, they are smart. So if you want to add something and that thing is already there, it will not even do anything again because it's there already. So why do I need to add it again? So add is smart. If you add something twice and it's the same thing, it will only give you once because it is there already. But the same thing with remove too. So if you want to remove something and it's not there, why do I need to remove something that is not there? So this one too will not do anything for you. But toggle, if that thing is not there, it will add, and if it is there, it will remove. So that's how toggle works there like that. Apart from this, we have this last one, which is check. And what this one will do is that it's not really adding anything or removing anything. It's only checking whether it is there or not. So if it is there, it's going to return true. If it is not there, then it's going to return false. So here now we can check whether this thing is containing a particular class or not. For example, here and console log is going to return a value. It's not really performing any action on the element, it's only checking whether it is there or not. So here I can use my h1, then class list, then dot contains like this. So you just need to check. And here what am I doing? I want to check whether this element is having this particular class. If it's having it, it will return true. If it's not having it, then it will return false. So here now if I put Abdul Rakib, this stuff is not having anything like Abdul Rakib. So if I save it, we should get false back because there is something like that on the element. So based on this now, you can now carry out some operation. For example, if this element is having a class open, I want the color to be red. But if it's not having class open, I want the color to be blue. How do you know that this thing is having color red, or is having class red, or is having class other one, or is not having that class? So if it's having class open, I want the color to be red. But if it's not having class open, I want it to be blue. So how do you check whether that thing is there or not? So what you do is to use this contain. So this contain will return true or false. And based on that now, you can now, for example, this is what I'm saying here. So I have this if, so this h1, then dot class list, then dot contain. So if it contain what? It contain Abdul like this. I don't need to type it finish. It contain Abdul. What I want to do is the h1. We talked about this one yesterday. Then the style. What are you doing? The style then dot color should be red. S. So which means it did not match. What we want to do is S like this. Then the h1 dot style. Then the color should now be blue. So if I save it, you see that the color is going to be blue. Why is the color blue? It's because there is something like class Abdul on this h1. But in order for this thing to work, you can go to your HTML, update it from here, or you do it directly from JavaScript. So I'm going to do it from here because we're talking about it. So I'm going to use this class list and dot add. What am I adding? Abdul like this. So since it's going to add it here, then it's going to see that Abdul is there. And if I save it now, as you can see, the color is going to be red. So the checking, this one can be used to check whether your element is having a particular class or not. If it's having it, you want to do something. If it's not having it, you want to do another thing. So that's when this contains used to come in. But if you want, you can use all this one to add or to remove or to toggle a particular class. And don't forget, when you're using add or remove, you can add multiple elements or you can remove multiple elements with just this single remove method. So you can pass your class 1, class 2, class 3. So these are the classes you want to remove, or you can pass this your class 1, class 2, class 3. These are the classes you want to add, and it's going to add all of them at once. Instead of you calling them on a separate line, just pass all of them, separate with comma there, and it's going to add them for you instead of going to separate line to add each one of them. So this thing that I just talked about now, it looks as if it's not like nothing much on it, but this thing is very important because we are going to be using it later on there, because most of the CSS you want to work on, now I told you yesterday, you're not going to be creating the CSS directly from JavaScript. You still have it in your CSS file, but what you'll be doing is to toggle a particular class from the element. And how do you do this thing? That's where this class list comes in. So with class list, you can add a particular class, or you can remove a class, or you can toggle the class, or you can check whether that particular element is having that class or not. So this thing is very, very important there, because if you don't do it, if I don't explain now, when we get to the time we're using it, so you start looking as if I'm doing one kind of magic stuff like that. I'm not doing any magic. This is oh, I've removed this. So yeah, so look at it now. We can now come here and work on this one. But before I work on this one, I want to talk about events because in order for this thing to work, because what we want to do here is when I click on this box, that's when it's going to add a class. So and since it's going to be based on the click, we need to talk about events. And what is events? So in JavaScript or on the browser itself, every action that you are carrying out has a particular event attached to them. So every action that you are going to be carrying out on the page have events attached to them. So if you click on something, it's going to fire the event that someone click on it. So if you right click on any element, it's going to fire the event that you've already click on it, or you right click on the stuff. So if you select element like this, there's an event for this. So this event now, you can now use it in JavaScript to listen for when this thing is going to happen, because that's what we call listening. Not that this thing will just happen instantly. Is when that thing occurred on the page, that's when you want this your particular code to run. So when the user select the text like this, I want the color to change to orange. But if you are not selecting the stuff, don't even do anything. So you can now use the event to listen for when that thing is going to happen. And when that thing happen, then you carry out the operation. Because here now, for example, here, I don't want this thing to just slide anyhow like that. I only want it to slide when I click on it. So how do you now know when this thing is going, like when you click on it? So how is the code going to run at that time? That's where the event comes in, because everything that is going on a page, we always fired a particular event. So it's now left for you now to listen for the event. So and what is listening? What you just do is you talk to JavaScript. Okay, I'm watching this element. Once this, like, now you go outside, you are suspecting someone, and both of you are facing each other. The next thing, oh, you are watching the person. Once that person carry out one operation like this, the next thing you too, you carry out another operation there. Or you are watching a baby for that baby not to fall, and the next thing you see that the baby move like this, what do? You too, you move close to the baby, because you are kind of watching the baby. So here we call it listener. So what do you do here? So whatever event that the browser can emit there, what do? Your own is just to add the listener to it. And what is that listener? It's just a function that it will be waiting for that event to occur. And once that event occurred on the page, then it's going to carry out whatever operation that you pass into it. The browser is always going to fire the event. An event is related to whatever you are doing on the page. And I just mentioned some of them now. You select the element, it will fire an event that you've selected that element. So if you click on the element, it will fire the event that you've clicked on that element. If you right click on the element, it will fire the event that someone right click on that element. So is that left for you now to listen for all these different events that the browser is firing there like that. Everything you do on the page will always fire. Even as I'm scrolling like this, there's an event for that. So there is an event, like once you scroll, it will fire that event. Anything you are doing on the page, always fired event. So it's that left for you to listen for it. And that's why when you go to some site, as you are scrolling, some item will keep getting bigger or going smaller. It's because they are listening for this scroll event. So as you are scrolling, the stuff will be, enlarging or reducing the image depending on whatever the effect that they want to apply there, like that. So whatever you are doing on the page, we always fire event, and we have a lot of events that you can listen for there. The same thing here too. As you are typing inside the box, there is an event that is getting fired here. So it's not less for you to listen for that event. And once you listen for the event, you can now get the content that the user is typing at that time, and you can show it somewhere else. Maybe for example, now as you are typing here, you want to be showing it inside this box. But how do you know the time that the user is typing? So that's the event, because as the user is carrying out any operation on the page, it will always fire the event here. And once the event is fired, then it's now left for you to listen for that event. And what you are going to be using to listen for events is what we call this event listener. So whatever you'll be using to listen for events is what we call event listener, because the JavaScript will not listen for any event for you. You are the one that is going to listen for whatever event that you want to listen for on the particular element that you want. So here now, the element I want is this box here. And which event did I want to listen for? Click. We have a lot of events that you can listen for there. We have a lot of events. Let me go to this site and let me bring them out because they are much. We have the keyboard event, just like what I mentioned here. I said anytime the user is typing, you want to be doing something as they are typing there like that. So let me go back to my page. So as the user is typing, what do we want to do? We want to display the content that they are typing inside another box there. So how do you know that the user is typing? The event is going to fire. But what type of event is it not fire? Or how do you know which event you have to listen for? Because you need to mention the event that you want on this element. But this element can trigger different events. It can trigger right click. When you right click on it, it can trigger a normal click, which is a left click. And at the same time, it can trigger this event when you select it, or any other events are on it like that can occur on this one. The same thing too for this input. It has its own set of events too that you can listen for. One of the events is when the user is typing from the keyboard. So all these events, they are grouped and we have the name for them. You can't just use any name anyhow. You have to use the name that have been defined there. And the major one or the most used one is click event. So we have a click event. But how do you listen for your event? So before we get into that, I want to show you different events that you can listen for there. So if you go to this site, which is this W3 like this, so they have a lot of list of the events are there. So where are you? Let me scroll down. As you can see, a lot of things that we've talked about are here like that, and some of them that we've not talked about, but we're going to come to some of them later on. But the one I want to talk about here is event. So where is event here? Don't you guys have events? Statement, comment, const, data, object. So this is what I'm looking for. So clicking on it here, explain a lot of things here. So as you can see, so whatever you are doing on the browser, they always fire events like that. So whether you click or you right click or whatever stuff. But how do you listen for event? We have different way of listening. But before we get to that, I want to see the common. Can you see? So we have different type of event that you can listen for. For example, like this click, we have a change, we have mouse over. So as I see, as I'm on this text, it's firing the event that you are already on that text like that, and you can listen for event or there. So we have the key down. This is part of the keyboard event. As you press your keyboard, it's going to go down. So when that key goes down, it will fire the event. And when you press the key, it has to come back up. So there's an event for that one too, and you can listen for different events in listen. Even what I'm looking for here did not even list it like that, because let me see. Yeah, so as you can see, there's a lot of them, but we're not going to focus on all of them. We're only going to focus on the common one. Can you see? You can listen for different stuff. These are events, but the major one, or the one that we're going to start with, is this click. And what is click? Click is this. Anytime you click on any element, it will fire the event. So you click on a button, or you click on a text, or you click on anything on the page, it will fire this click event. So anytime you copy anything on the screen, it will fire this event. Anytime you cut, as you can see, so this is what I mentioned. Yeah, this one is double click. That is single click, it will fire the event. But what if you want to fire the event when someone double click on the element? So we have this is double click here. And we have a lot of events, but we're not going to talk about all of them, because there's no way we'll be talking about all these events. We only focus on the major one that we need there like that. So this one is useful when you are dealing with your audio and video. So anytime your audio is paused, it will fire this event. You cannot do something, and then anytime you play your audio or video, it will fire this event, and a lot of events that you can listen for there like that. But we won't be wasting our time to look at everything. We only focus on a particular one, or the one that are useful to us, and that's when I will bring them in one by one, or I will just talk about all of them right now. But the major thing here is that you should be able to listen for events. You know that the event is going to occur with everything you are doing on the page, but how do you listen for that event? So to listen for events in JavaScript, we have two methods, or we have two ways that you can use. So you can do it through the HTML, and you can do it through the JavaScript. But I won't be talking about the HTML one. So what I'll be focusing on is this JavaScript here. Because if I go back to that page, you see that there is something here like this. If I go back to the previous page, you see that the thing is showing this onload. This on here, this is the way you can do it from the HTML, but I won't go into this one. I will focus on the JavaScript one there like that. And how do you add the events? To add event in JavaScript, here we have two ways too. We have this one and we have this method here. But this is the one I will focus on for now. This one is just like you are doing it from HTML, because the way you are doing it here, that's the same way you do it in HTML like that. But the one I want to focus on right now is this add event listener, because this one is more advanced than this one and these two here, which is the one we are always going to be using like that. So this is how to add events. And how do you do it? You add the element followed by this add event listener. Then the first thing you have to pass to it is the name of the event that you want to list. Don't forget, the element can fire different event there. Now I mentioned it that you can highlight the text, you can click on the text, you can right click on the text, you can double click on the text. So how do you talk to this in that this is the particular event that you want to listen for? So you are going to supply the name of the event. And where are you going to get the name of the event? We have a lot of them, just like what I show you from this side. But the major one that we're going to be focusing on right now is the click. So if you want to listen for anytime someone, can you see? So anytime someone select, like as I select this text, it will fire this event that you've already selected it. Then you can now listen for, this is the name of the event. So we have the name. So whatever event that you want to listen for, you need to know the name. And that name is what you are going to pass here. So once you pass the name, then the next thing is, what do you want to do when this event occur? So what do you want to do anytime this event occur on this element? And that's where this callback comes in. And what is callback? Callback are just functions that you pass to another function as a parameter. By now, everybody know what is parameter. I don't even need to be talking about that. So anytime you are passing a function, because this here now, this is a function. By now, everybody know what is function. So this is a function that you are calling on this. So when you are now passing another function to it as a parameter, then that function is what we call callback. It's just another way of when you say method, that is a function that is defined inside objects. And when you now say callback, these are functions that you are passing to another function as what? Parameter. Whatever function you pass to another function as parameter, that function we call it callback. So when you say callback to anybody that in this our stuff, they already know what you are talking about. You don't need to be saying all this, okay, law function that you pass to another function and parameter. Once you call callback, the person already know that this is what you are talking about. So when you just say create a callback, the person know that, okay, for which function? That's the next thing the person will ask. Because when you mention callback, it means a function that you need to pass to another function. So which function am I passing it to? So here now, you need to pass a function to this add event listener, and whatever function you pass into it, that's what this your event is going to do. That's what this element is going to do when this event is fired on that element. And when you want to pass the function, don't forget we've talked about function. Is that you pass in this way by using the function keyword, or if you want to use arrow function. I'll always be using this one a lot. So the action is what you want to do. So you are going to pass it to this here stuff here. And once you pass it, whatever you put here, that's what this thing is going to do anytime these events occur on that element. And let us put all these in jargons that I've been saying since. Let's put everything together. But you need to understand what is going on here, because if you don't understand the concept, there is no way you'll be able to create a code yourself later on. You only be following what others are doing. You'll not be able to do anything yourself. That is why you need to understand what this thing is trying to solve before you follow example there like that. So we have events. Huh?
I don't understand.
Oh, you do not understand it.
The fire stuff. What do you use fire?
Look at it here. What I mean by fire is when you perform anything on the screen, this thing is going to trigger an event. And for everything that you are doing on the page, we have events associated with that action. One of the action here is, look at it, I'm highlighting this text, or I'm selecting this text. This is an action. and this action is going to fire the event. Fire means that it's going to do something. Hello.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
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 okay.
okay,
I
okay.
select the text
You know
here.
the
The
problem
problem
is,
is,
the
the
problem
problem
is, I don't
is, I
just
don't
want to
just want to
interrupt.
interrupt.
The
The
network is
network
kind
is
of
kind of
breaking. It's
breaking.
not
It's not
following what
following
you're
what you're
saying, so
saying.
that's
So that's
why
why
Ah,
I'm missing
missing
some things.
ah.
things.
So then that means you have
And
to
And
even
continue.
your
even your
voice is
voice
not
is
kind
not
of
kind of
loud.
loud.
Like,
Like,
I don't
I
want
don't want
to
With the way I'm
disturb. So that's
shouting
why
here.
I'm using.
So that's, it's the network. It's not, that one is not from me. It's the network. Network was not like that yesterday. So it's the network. You have means
Yes,
you
yes,
have to
yes.
watch the video. That's why I'm recording. So
Okay.
Okay.
anywhere you catch up there, you watch the video. Because the way I'm shouting here, sef, people will be thinking, what's going on? What are you
Mm-hmm.
doing? So that means you need to watch the video so that you see that the voice is really all right. So the first thing you need to do, because the other thing is just steps. The first thing you need to do, we need to have our elements. So the first thing you need to do is to add the element, because when you want to add listener, you need to have the element that you want to add that event on. So after having the element, the next thing is to add the event listener like this. So which I'm going to put all this in under each one of them like that. So you need to listen for event, or let me just call it listen for event. So listen for events, because it's not just one that you can listen for. You can listen for multiple events. And after you listen for events, under it, you are going to supply a callback. And by now, you know what is callback. Callback is what you are going to be passing into this your add event listener. So let's do all this in, or let's do all this in. So the first thing we need to do is to target our element. So which element do we want to target? So the element I want to target on the screen is that box. So the element I want to target on the screen is this box here. So this is the element I want to target. But that's the one I want to listen for its event. Anything you are doing or whatever element you are interacting with on the page, they will always fire an event are there. And once that event is fired, it will look for your listener. And once you can find a listener for that event, it will do whatever that function, which is the callback, there. It's going to perform everything. So we need to listen for this element. We need to target this element first. And how do we target the element? So I have a class on it. So if I go back to this side, and scroll down to the part where we have this content, you are going to see that I have a class on that particular element. Where are you? Where's the element? Where's the element? Should be here. Yeah. So look at it. So this is the element. I have a class on it, and it's the only one that is having this class. Yeah, I think I use text. Okay, this one is text. They are not the same thing. So what we need to do is to target the element. So how do we target the element? You know this one already. So first, this element like this document, and query selector like this. And what am I selecting? I'm looking for the element with this class text. So that's the first thing you need to do. And once you are done targeting the element, the next thing is for you to listen for events. So which event we want to listen for this element? So you are going to call your element. I'm using element somewhere here at the top. So that's why it's complaining. Did I use anything like element? Yeah, that's why it's complaining down here. So this element now, on it, there is this method known as add event listener. And what do you need to do with this event listener? So the first thing it's expecting for you is the type of the event that you want to listen for. And the next thing, so the first thing you pass to it is the event name. Then the second thing you are going to pass into it is a callback. And what is callback? Callback is just a function that you are passing to another function. So know that this add event listener is a function on its own. So you need to pass another function into it. And since you need to pass another function into it, that function now we call them callback. So any function you are passing to another function, we call them what? Call back. Or but here it's called listener, but it is known as callback in general when you are passing a function to another function. So here you need to pass the name of the event. And which event we want to listen for? I want to listen for click event. So I want to listen for this click. So anytime this click event occur on this element, I want to fire this thing. I want this thing to happen. So I want this thing to carry out this action. And whatever you are passing here, it's going to be in this form. So either you use this method or you use this method here. So look at it. Is that you pass the function in this way or you pass your callback in this way. So the callback, event callback using arrow function, you do it like this. Or you use this function keyword, any one of them that you want to use. But I will be going down with this one like this. So this callback, I need to change it. I'm going to pass it like this. And this stuff is going to carry out whatever I want it to do. So here, what did I want to do? I want to console log out we are here. So this we are here, this console log, you only get it when the event that we are listening for here is performed on this element. So the only time you get this message is when you click on this element. If you don't click on the element, then this thing is not going to run at all. So whatever you are passing to this add event listener, whatever callback you are passing to it, that callback will only get called when this event occur on the element. So when the event occur, which is the same thing as fired. So whether I say fired or called, they are the same thing. So when the element fired or when this event occur on this element is going to call this your callback, which is the function that you are passing into it there. And this event that I pass here can be anything. This is just a parameter. So it's just a parameter that is going to be holding the information about the events that occur. So this one is just a variable or a parameter that will be holding whatever event that occur the info about the event. And I can console log it out because I will be using it later on like that. And you can call it anything. So here I'm calling it event, but you can call it anything you want. You can see it's a parameter. So here I'm calling it event. So and this thing here is going to hold information about the event that occur in your application there like that. So anytime this event is clicked, this event is anytime this element is clicked, it will fire this event. And once the event is fired, then this your add event listener tool will call this function. And once this function is called there, it will supply the information for you, like the type of event that occur along with the extra information that we're going to be talking about there like that. So if I save this in and go back to the page, you are going to see that in the console log, you won't see anything because the only time you're going to see something on the console log is when the event occur like that. What is it saying here? On line 655, what am I doing? 655. I think I comment you out. 655. 655. Oh. 655. Save again. Go back to the page. And we're going to see that we don't have anything in the console there. So the only time you're going to see the message on the console is when you carry out the event that you're listening for. And how do you carry out the event that you're listening for? Is by clicking on the element. So if I click on it here, you see that it's going to fire the event. So what does it do when I say fire the event? What it's going to do is that it's going to call this your callback. So when you want to listen for any event, target the element. When you are done targeting the element, you add the type of the event that you want to listen for. So here we are listening for click, which means anytime we click on the element, it will perform this action that we have here. And this action that we are passing into it is a function. And that function is going to receive the information about the event that occur. And on this parameter here, you are going to see a lot of information that is related to event that occur. As you can see here, the type of the event that occur right now is known as pointer event. And inside it, as you can see, there's a lot of information about the events that occur. It's telling us where you click. So with this one now, with all this information is giving you, you can actually know the area or a particular place that the user click on the screen. So if I click on this side now, you see that the number that is going to show is going to be different from the X. So the one that I clicked before is showing this 33X. But now if I go to the second one that's fired here, you see that the value is going to be different there. Can you see? It's now 501 because it will tell you the distance from here to where you click is what this client X is. Then the client Y is the distance between here to where you click. So which means when you are talking about this client X and client Y, is talking about this distance. So let me clear this one, which is something we don't need right now, but you need to know what is going on there. So if you click here, so the client Y is going to be the distance from here to this side that you click. Why this client X is the distance between here all the way to where you click. So this point, this distance between here and here is this client X. Then here to the top here is what we call the client Y. It's not giving you the one that is inside the box, so it's giving you relative to the screen. So if I come here, so what is the distance between this your mouse to this side or to this up here? That's this information is giving you here. So if you click here, it will tell you the distance, that place that you clicked to up and to this side here. So maybe you want to do something on the page based on this, you just need to receive the information, because anytime this event occurred, it will fire it, and once it's fired the stuff, it will call your callback, and when your callback is called, it's going to receive the event information. And as you can see, there's a lot of things it's sending to us there for the event. But the major thing that we're going to be using a lot later on under this side is known as this target. And the target is the element that fired the event. So which element did you click on that triggered this event? So that's what target is here. So if you click anywhere inside this place, you only see that the target is just the div. But that's not what is going to be there every time when you are working with some complex element that have a lot of things inside it. So it's not going to give you the element that you put the event on. But for now, just know that you can listen for any event on the element, and we have different events that you can listen for. The major one or the most used one is just click. Anytime you click on the element, it will fire the event. Anytime you select a text, it will fire event. Anytime you right click on the element, it will fire the event. Anytime you double click on the element, it will fire the event. Anytime you type in a box, it will fire event, and so forth like that. So you can now listen for the one that you want, because there's a lot of things that is going on. There's a lot of events that the browser is dispatching there, or it's kind of firing there. So what's now left for you there is to listen for the particular one that you are interested in. So if it is click, like anytime you click on the box, that's the only time you want to do something, or anytime someone is typing inside the box, that's where you want to do something, and so forth like that. So it's now left for you to pick the event that you want. But the one that I just used right now is this click event, because the only thing I'm after on that element is just when you click. I don't care whether you select the text there, or you right click on it, or you double click on it. I don't care about all those ones. The only thing I'm expecting you to do is just to click it once. And once you click it once, then I want this stuff to perform its action there. So once this thing is done, then it's going to perform whatever you pass into it. So let's do it again with another element. Let's do it again with another element here. And which element do I want to do it with, so that I can show another type of event, because we have a lot of events that you can listen for. It's not just click, just like what I show you on that side. You can listen for different events, and when that event occur, you want something to happen on the page. But right now I'm going to be doing console log. So what I want to do, I want to listen for something on this one. I did it yesterday, but now I want to do it again. So the first thing you need to do is to target the element. And how do you target the element? You are the one that arranged the element, you know the structure. So I'm going to go back to the page there like that. And here, as you can see, inside the jobs, we have a particular input there of type radio, or we just have input there. So I can use that to target the element. So const here, I'm going to call it input, or let me just call it I like this, or let me call it radio input. So radio input like this. How would we target it? So query selector. I know that it is inside a class jobs like this. So that's an input which is inside this place, and I know that it's going to give me the first one that is there because I'm using query selector. So now if I output this radio input, you are going to see that we are getting the radio there. As you can see, I'm getting the input, but I'm not interested in this stuff. What I want to do here is I want to add event, because anytime you click on it, it will fire the event. It will fire a particular event anytime you click on it like this. And as you click on it there, this one says I can't deselect. I'm not using this one. Let me use the checkbox. The checkbox is better because this one you can click and you can remove what you do there like that. So let me use this one because this one is more manageable than, because this one now you have to click the other one before it's removed. Or let me just leave it like this. So I will be clicking the other one so that we can even see it, except that it's not going to happen with this other element that we have there. So what do we need to do now? We need to listen for events. How do you listen for a particular event there? Call the element followed by add event listener. And inside this bracket here, pass the type of the event that you want to listen for. Which one do you want to listen for? Click. So anytime this element is click, you want to run this your function here. So whatever you pass here, it has to be function. And that function is what this event listener is going to call anytime this event occur on the element. So anytime you click on this radio input, it will fire this your function. And this your function, we have access to the event info that occur. So here I'm calling it E. If you notice up here, I call it event. This is a parameter. And you know when you're talking about parameter, you can give it any name. It's just representing what this event listener will be sending to this your function later on. You are not the one that will be calling this function. It is this event listener that is going to call it when this event occurred on that element that you are listening for, because this same event can occur on different elements. So you need to talk to the element that you want to listen for that particular event. And once that event is fired on this element, then this your event listener too is going to call the function that you are passing to it. And as you can see, I'm using arrow function here because I told you there are two methods you can use. You can use the arrow or you can use the normal function. But this one is too long, so that's the reason why I'm using this short form here. Just pass the function into it, and whatever you are doing here, that's what it's going to do. And what did I want to do? I just want to console log out the info about the events that occur there like that. And if I save this stuff now, by the time you save, you see that this thing is not going to do anything for us because this thing will only come outside when the event is fired. So if I type anything here, you will never see it until the event is fired. So my click call back like this. So if I save it, you will never see this message on the screen. The only time you see it is when this event is fired. And when the event is fired, then this function is going to be called. And when it's called, then it's going to perform everything that is inside it. So how is it going to fire it? So we need to trigger the event. How do you trigger the event? It means you need to perform the action that will trigger this particular event. And the action here is click. So if I click on the stuff, can you see? That's when it will fire the event. So anytime you click on this element, you say you want this thing to do something for you. And as you can see, it's now bringing out the message. So the only time you see this message here is when you perform this event. And when are you going to perform this event is when you click on the element. So if I click on the element, it will always perform. Anytime you click, it will trigger the event. And what am I doing with the stuff? What I'm doing here is that I'm outputting this my click callback, and at the same time, I'm outputting this info about the events that occur. And as you can see, it gives us the information about the event. So it gives us the like where you click on that page. So where you click on the page, as you can see, the distance from here to here, as you can see, is 21. So from here, from this edge to this side, where you click is 21. But from here to up here, it is 278. So it will give you the info about where you click on the page there. Apart from that, another thing that you need that we're going to be using a lot later on is this target. Can you see? So target is whatever the element that trigger the event. You know you add the event to one element, but that doesn't mean that's the element that is going to trigger the event. So if you want to know the element that triggered the event, so it always you're really going to get it on this target, and target is just the element. So it will give you the element that actually triggered the event. And you see what I'm trying to say here now. If you add events to this box, so what we are going to do here for you to know that the element that you add the event to doesn't mean that that's the one that will trigger the event. So anytime you add event to a particular element, what is inside it and that element itself can trigger the event. So just because I add the event to this particular box doesn't mean all this one cannot trigger it. So since they are inside that element, they will trigger their parent event. So if you add event to the parent and you are clicking on the child, it will trigger whatever event that you have on the parent. If the child did not have it, if the child is having his own too, it will do the child own and it will still do the parent own. We have the way of stopping that stuff, but for now, that's how it will work. And how do we do this thing? So let's target the element again. I'm going to do it again because this is the process you always follow. The first thing, get the element. Once you get the element, add the event that you want on it, then you pass the callback that you want to run anytime that event occurs. So here, the element that I want to target again is this grid container here. So where are you? Yeah, so the grid container. So I want to target this element on the page. So what do we need to do? So what I need to do here is just to use my so let me save it. So const box, I'm going to call it box again. So document.query selector like this, because you need to have access to the element. Once you have access to the element, the next thing we need to do is to add the event. So how do you add the event? So call the name followed by add event listener. Which event do you want to listen to? So yeah, because this is the cheapest event there like that, but this is not the only event we have a lot of them. So what do you want to do? I want to run this function anytime the event occur. And what did I want to do? I just want to console log at e.target. Don't forget, e is the event info that occur. So this one hold all the information about the event that occur. But on that e, there is a target. And what is target? Target is the element that trigger the event. You know what? Which event are we listening for? Click. So which element did you click on the screen that makes this thing to happen? That's what target is. So which element that makes this thing to occur on the page is what target is. It's not the element that you attach there, because we actually there are two. There are two things that is here. So we have something known as e dot current target. So they are different. So this is the one. So this is a element. So this is element that triggered the event. So why this one is the element. So can you see the difference? The element that trigger the event is what we call target. Why the one that you actually attach the event listener on is what we call current target. Look at it here now. On this page, you're going to see the difference between them now. So let me come back here. Can't read the property of null. It cannot see the element. No. Box. Am I not putting the correct class? Yeah, I did not put it because I did not use box. So you did not see the element. All right, yeah, so no problem. So look at it. This is the box that we had event on. So if you click on this box, so what is going to happen is that this thing is going to check where did you attach the event, where did you attach it, then that's your current target. Then which element did you click on the screen that makes this thing to occur? That is what we call target. So which means here now, look at it. If I click on this, you know we did not attach any event on this button. What we attach the event on is the parent itself, that red box. But if I click on this one, can you see that it triggered the event? So, and as you can see, you see that they are quite different. So target is the element that triggered the event, while the current target is the one that you actually attach the event listener on. So if you go back to the code, like if I go back to this code and expand the screen, look at it. Which element did we add the event listener on? We add it on the box. So that element that you add the event on is what we call current target. But you know this event, something has to happen on the screen before it can carry out this operation here. So which element make this thing to carry out this action? That's what we call target. So which element did I click on that makes this thing to run is what we call target. But where did you actually attach the event? You know, you have to attach the event to one element. So where did you attach where did you call the add event listener? Which element is calling add event listener? That's just current target. Whatever element that have this add event listener is your what's wrong with this thing? Whatever element that have this event listener is what we call current target. But that doesn't mean that same element will be the one that will trigger the event. It might be, but It's not always the same like that. As you can see, this is what we click, but it's not the one that have the event. This is the one that actually have the event. Because you need to know which one carry out the operation. You don't just say, oh, because you attach this event on this element, it will always be the one that will carry it out. No. If there is something inside it, it means those elements too can actually carry out the action. So you need to differentiate them like, okay, are you the one that attach this thing on, or you are not the one? Because there's sometimes you need to differentiate which one you attach the event on and the one that are actually carrying out the. So look at it now. If I go to this red area and if I click it, can you see that it's saying that it's the same element for current? Because that's the one, it's the one we attach the event on and it's the one that triggered the event. But if I click on this X, you see that it's telling us that we actually click on the X, but the one that has the event is this one. So when you need to differentiate between the one that triggered the event and the one that has the event, then you can use the target and current target. But most of the time, the one we always be using is just this target, because the one you attach the event on can be the target too, because if you click on this red here, as you can see, it's the same. But if you don't care about who triggered the event on the page, then you don't need to be using target. But most of the time, you always need to do, because here now, you need to do, because I can attach the same event to all these buttons. And if I attach the same event to all these buttons here, how do I know the one that I actually click on? So that's where target comes in. So if I attach the event to all these buttons, the same event, but anytime you click on any button, you want to change the color to another color. But how do you know that it is the E button that you click, or it is the H that you click, or it is the P? Because look at it here. Can you see that it's telling us that the one we click is actually having X? So if I click on T, you see that it's telling us that we actually click on the element that is T. It will not tell me that I click on another T, because this is what I click. If I click on this N, you see that it's giving us the element that have that N. So how do you get the one that triggered the event? That's what we call target. If you need the element that triggered the event, you have to come through this target, because that's the only one, that's your only true source that you can know that this is the element that triggered the event. But it's not the one that actually had the event, but it's the one that triggered the event. But if you want to know the one that is always that the one you attach the event on, just call this your current target. It will always give you the element that have this add event listener. Just look at the element that have this add event listener. That element is the one that is a current target. It doesn't change. It's always the one that will be on the current target. But this one, it will never be the same thing. If you are clicking on different, or the different element can perform that same action. So it will not give you the same thing, because whatever element you click on, or whatever element that trigger the event. The reason I'm saying click right now is because we are listening for click event. If you are listening for another type of event, the element that triggered the stuff, that's what is going to be your target. So if I click on M, you see that it's telling us that it's the M that we click, because that's our target. Target is what triggered the event. Why current target is the one that you attach event on. We actually attach the event on the parent, but whatever that is inside the tool can trigger the event. So just because you attach the event on the box doesn't mean what is inside it will not work. They will still be doing that same thing that the parent can do, and that's how JavaScript work. But you can actually stop it. That's the default stop. You can stop them that they shouldn't do that. They should only work on what you attach to them, not what is on the parent, like that, or what is on. So you can change it, but this is the way it works by default. And this is what you want most of the time, because I don't want something like this. It's not until I click this box before it will do something for me. As soon as I click anything inside that box, I want a particular action to occur. And what action did I want to do here? So what I want to do is that anytime you click on any box you click on, what I want to do is that box, which is going to know e.target, is whatever element you click. So on that element, I want to change the style. And what I want to change the background to, or let me just generate some random color so that we can get random this thing. So let me generate random color here. So RGB like this. So this is going to be math. Just forget about this one for now. So math.random, and this one is going to be multiplied by 256 like this. So which is going to generate a random number between 0 and 256 like that. So I just need to duplicate this one. No, this thing that I'm doing here is the same thing that we normally, nothing strange. This is what I'm just doing, but I'm generating all this value dynamically. So instead of me typing this 0 1, So it will just generate a random number. See that I'm typing the same RGB. It's not that I'm doing any special stuff. I'm not doing any special thing. It's just this RGB. But instead of it to be have 166, I want it to generate a random number for me. Instead of it to have this 205, generate a random number. Instead of it to have this 50, generate a random. That's just the special stuff that is there. So nothing is special here. So this random number will only give you a number between 0 and 1. But I want it to extend it to a range. So that's why I multiply by 256. So like that. Again, I just need to do it 3 times or 2 times more like that. Like the RGB, this is red, green, and blue. So I need to do it for green and I need to do it for blue. So any one of the then you click now, it will not be the same color every time. It will always change the color based on whatever. So if I click on this M like that, can you see the color change? Can you see? It will always, because anytime it click, it will call that random. And random, once you call it, every time you call it, it always give you a different number between 0 and 1. So that thing is now being multiplied by 256. So which means it will give you a number between 0 and 255 because it will never get to the last one that you have there, which is 256. If I click on this, as you can see that it's only happening on the one you click. So if I click on the parent too now, you see that it changed. If I click on it again, it will change because we are using random. Every time you click, it will call your callback again. And when the callback is called, it will generate a random number for the call, as you can see here. So for this one, can you see what generated here is 178, 179, and 3. So for this one, if I click on it again, as you can see, it is now 208, 13, 78. So if I click on it again, it will keep generating random number between that 0 and 256. And it will never get to that 256 because whatever number you multiply with it, it never get to that number there. So that's how this thing works. And keep clicking, you always get random color like that. So if I click on this one, this one too will generate random one outcome. Yeah. So as you can see, with the help of JavaScript and the event listener, we are able to do this kind of, and we are going to build a game like this later on. Like we are going to build a game like guess color like that. So the thing is going to generate some random color. It's not left for you to guess the code of the color. So if you click, like it will generate this one. It will generate this RGB stuff. So it's not left for you to click on the one that matches this color code. If you click on the correct one, it will tell you, yay, you win. And if you click on the wrong one, then it will tell you that you lose. So that's what we are going to do this in the next class here by putting all this in together. But with the event there, you can listen for any event. So there now, let me quickly do this one before, because this time has gone already. So because I don't want this thing to be getting to this 1 hour 7 minutes. Always go to 1 gig or so, which is really much. So what I just want to do now, what we want to do is that this element here, we want to add events, click on it. Anytime you click, it's going to slide. But why is it going to slide? I don't want to manipulate. No, here now we are manipulating the CSS here from JavaScript. But I don't want to do that. I already have a class down. I already have a class slide down. The only thing I just want to do is that to add that class. So if you click on it, it will add a class. If you click again, it will remove the class. No, which is now, if you know now, what we need to use is toggle. Because if the class is there, it will remove. If it's not there, it will add. And which one can give you that functionality is this toggle of class that we talked about there. So if you go back to that particular part, as you can see, we have toggle. So what we can do here is that we target that element. Once the user click on it, then we'll toggle the class on that, we toggle that slide class on it. So the first thing we need to do is to target the element, so which I'm going to call, what can I even call this? Box2 like this. It's going to be document query selector. So the element is having class testing. That's the class I gave it. Here now, we just need to add the event on it. Is it the same thing? Like that's why you need to, once you keep doing this thing, it just look as if you are playing there because it's the same process that you keep doing again and again and again. The difference is just the element you are targeting them and the name you are using. That's just the stuff there. But you always follow the same add event listener, put the event that you want. Right now I'm using click. And anytime this event, this element is click, I already have the element that I want. So from there, what I can do is this box2, like that, box2, then the class list. So on this, I want to toggle. What do you want to toggle? I want to toggle slide. Wait, oh, is that the name of the class? Yeah, so as you can see, what I want to do here, this is from CSS. The only time this you see left and right is when there's a class testing and there's a class slide. And that's what we are doing here. It will either add this one or remove it because of the toggle, the way it works. But we don't just want this thing to happen like that. We only want this thing to happen when we click on that element. It can be from another element that you click on, but we only want it to happen when we click on that particular element. So when this element is clicked, we just want to toggle its class, which means it will be adding or removing based on whether that thing is there or not. Now, if I click on it, like this, can you see it will slide? So if I click on it again, the class is there already, it will remove. So once you remove the class, it will go back to whatever it should be. If you click again, it will slide. If you click on it, it will go back. And what is happening there? Let me go to the CSS so that you see what is happening on the page. What JavaScript is doing there is adding. Can you see that there is no class sliding? Since there is no class slide, it means if I click on it now, it will add it. As you can see that it's not there. So now if you click on it again, it will check whether it's there. So since it's there now, it will remove. So if I click on it, it will not remove. And that's what toggle is doing. If that class is there, it will remove. If it's not there, it will add. Then we now use that knowledge now to do something like this. So when you click on the element, you click, because this slide is doing a particular stuff in CSS. So once you see that class, it will change the left to 10%, it will change the bottom to 3rem. But if the slide is not there, then the left is going to be 50% and the bottom is going to be 1rem. If slide is there, left is 10%, bottom is 3rem. But if it is not there, bottom is 1rem and left is 50%. That's just so. Is that left for JavaScript to add or to remove? JavaScript is not doing any magic or any special stuff. His own job is just to remove the class or add the class, whether that class is there or not. Then to the user, it looks as if you are doing one magic stuff. You are not doing any magic. You are just changing the property of the element based on whether you click on it or not. So if you click, it will check, is it there? If it is there, remove. But if it's not there, add. But if you want to add it yourself, so instead of using toggle, if you want to do it once, so what you can just do here, instead of toggle, what we can do is add. But this one will not work again like we were expecting to work, because once you click on it, the job is just to add. As you can see, it's there already. Add is just to add. And once it's there, it doesn't add again. If you click it from now to tomorrow, he's seen it that it's there already. So why do I need to add it again? So it will never add anything. But if it is toggle, toggle will work like this one. If it is there, remove. If it's not there, add. That's toggle. So if you need the toggle functionality, then you call toggle. If you need the add functionality, you call add. And if you need remove, then you call remove, depending on what you are doing there, like that. So this is where I will stop. And the next class now, we work on a simple application that use all these things together, which is what are we going to do there? So we're going to see it. Just a minimal stuff. We have all the elements, and that element we target them, and we listen for different events. So we're going to start with this input. So we're going to prepare the input box where like a typing speed. So as you are typing, it will be appearing inside another box. And whatever we'll be using there is just what we've talked about before. We're not going to use anything strange, because you already know how to change the content of any element. By now, we talked about the event. So we take whatever the user is typing, then we'll put it inside another box. And that's what we're going to do. Then we're able to finish it on time like that, and we'll try to do another one. But if we're not, then that's the only thing we do for the next class. And the one that follows it, then it will be an advanced stuff to that one, because for there we move into framework straightforward. I don't no, this video stop.